definitely sign code, but then also you've got to make sure that the access around that is very well tracked and can be audited.
What are some best practices around code signing for IoT devices?
I think code signing is perhaps a bit more understood for manufacturers that may be trying to get into the PKI space, where they are already using the best practice of signing a firmware that is being deployed to their devices and signing it with a code signing certificate. What's also important around that is really understanding the access controls and who is authorized to actually sign firmware, because you would hate for someone to take a malware package and get hold of your code signing certificate and sign it, so then it looks like it came from your company, and then distribute that. And so that's, I think, the second piece is, yes, definitely sign code, but then also you've got to make sure that the access around that is very well tracked and can be audited. We have customers that provide their sub-tier suppliers that then are being required by their customer, which is maybe a larger OEM, to show records and audit trails of who has touched each of these bits of firmware, so that they can trust that that subcomponent that they're receiving has not been tampered with. And that, I think, is kind of the complexity that we start to get into when we think about overall supply chain security and how do you kind of trust all those underlying parts. Well, again, having a really solid code signing practice around that, and then controls, and then capability to provide logs to show everything that's occurred, and then allow people to only access it at certain times is really important. I think the last bit on that is really just making sure that you can do that globally, because we all now work in global teams, especially when it comes to product development. And so you have to be able to handle that virtually, and have your developers be able to access code signing capabilities wherever they're working from. So again, back to the beginning here, cloud access, I think, and secure cloud access is a big piece of that too.
I would just add on the management and control, as Ellen was saying. We saw a really bad example of that at the beginning of this year, and the fallout that occurred from that. Proper code signing would have helped to prevent things of that nature from occurring. If you look at all the over-the-air updates that are going, you look at all the firmware signings that are going out, those things need to be managed. They need to have dual redundancy behind them, checking those things. And that access control is so important, because you're giving somebody the keys to the car, and if they have bad intentions with the car, then they're going to implement that, and we're going to have a disaster. If those keys are completely controlled and managed, we have a secure infrastructure and everything runs as it's supposed to. And at the end of the day, we're not talking about these problems anymore.